Good morning and welcome to Sunday Morning Magazine. I'm Martha Steele and I have two lovely ladies on the program today from the Canadian County CASA. Dana Lutz, the Executive Director, and Margaret Maceman, a volunteer advocate. Why don't we start off right away with telling us what CASA stands for?
CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocate. That's the name given for our volunteers. So what our volunteers do is they advocate for children that have been brought into DHS custody due to abuse or neglect. So it's for kids that have been removed from their homes, been abused or neglected, and been placed in either foster homes, shelters, group homes, things like that.
Oh, so they have a person with them to guide them and help them to feel less alone when they're dealing with a situation, when they're separated from the people they trust the most.
Exactly. The volunteer follows them wherever they go, wherever they're moved to, and makes sure the court is aware of their situation and is there to advocate for them and make sure that their needs don't fall through the cracks.
Margaret, you must be a pretty special person to hop in on that.
I think I'm just an ordinary person, but I'm an ordinary person who cares. And I've always had a heart for children. I have two of my own and I have two grandchildren. I worked for 18 years in an elementary school library. I think librarians sometimes are a little bit like bartenders. They hear all the stories. So I heard a lot of eye-opening and heartbreaking stories from children. And I think after I retired, I was just looking for something to do where I could still help children. I would see articles about CASA occasionally, and it just tugged at my heart. And so I finally, 6 years ago, went through a training class and became an advocate. And since then, I have advocated on the behalf of 4 children. I'm currently still with one of them and have been with him. He has been in the foster care system since he was 4 years old. He's now 13, and I've been with him since he was 10. So
wow.
He's kind of one of my long-termers. But my other 3 little boys that I advocated for are all in very stable, loving homes right now, and it's very rewarding to see that happen.
I would think that you would sort of get addicted to, after you've done it one time and you're able to have such a huge impact over time, that you would really want to go and do it again. It sounds like something where you actually are able to make a difference.
I feel like we make a difference, and there's such a huge need. I know Dana can speak more to the numbers of children that are in custody in Canadian County alone. And
right now, there are approximately just shy of 300 kids in Canadian County alone in foster care. So that's almost 300 kids that were removed from their homes for abuse or neglect. Throughout 2020, there were nearly 400 children altogether. And we served 126 of those children with the use of 60 volunteers. So 60 volunteers speaking up for those kids and making sure they had a voice.
Now, are these volunteers people that know the children at all, or are they just volunteers who, like Margaret, just sort of hear this particular cause speak to their heart and go and raise their hand and say, I'll be the one to go with this child through the process?
They're just like Margaret. All of our volunteers get appointed to kids that have been removed from homes, and they kind of become a mentor. It's similar to like a big brother, big sister type program where they mentor them, get to know them, but the added part is that they advocate. They are able to, with a court order they're given, they're able to talk to doctors, teachers, all the attorneys, anybody on the case, with staff help, of course, but to make sure these kids get what medical attention or tutoring or whatever it is that sometimes foster kids just don't get. And most of the kids we serve, they've bounced around the system or been in a home where they didn't have regular education or medical attention or things like that. So somebody to look over the court system shoulder and say, hey, this kid hasn't been to the doctor in years or is 2 grades behind in school. What's going on? How can we help that? That's one of the biggest impacts that CASA can have, is really just making sure those basic needs are met, especially if they're moving from home to home. I mean, foster parents are so amazing. And I absolutely love what they do, but CASA is a good way to be involved with kids, but not have to have a kid full time in your home. And so it's a good in between.
Margaret's smiling a lot because...
Well, I feel like I get to be the good guy with the kid. I get to be the fun person. So I don't really represent the authority like the parent or the DHS worker I'm just a friend.
So you're the fun aunt that gets to take them out for ice cream and whatnot.
Exactly. Yes.
But at the same time, be the voice of the child over time. I think that's really a powerful statement to make, especially when you talk about having been an advocate for this young man from the age of 10 to the age of 13 now. So that's 3 years of time and possibly multiple homes, or is he with the same?
Yes. Multiple placements, including a hospitalization. So I've been through a lot of experiences with him, and so he tends to talk to me more than he would other people. He's had more than one DHS worker during that time, too. So I'm a more consistent person for him even than his caseworker.
And as we know, that is incredibly powerful for a child to have something constant in their lives, especially when the most important relationship in their life has been disrupted, which is a parental relationship. All right. So we've established that this is an incredible program. If there's somebody listening who is hearing this story and is feeling the tug on their heart that they would like to get involved in the program, what would they need to do?
So to get involved, first off, all our volunteers need to be 21 years old. I just need to throw that out there, and they need to be able to pass background checks. We got to make sure our kids are safe, especially when you're dealing with kids that have already been through a lot of abuse and neglect. But if anybody's interested in volunteering, you can visit our website at CanadianCountyCASA.org. You can contact our office directly at 405-264-5508. Or you can email me, Dana, D-A-N-A, at CanadianCountyCASA.org.
And we'll put that information up on the Sunday Morning Magazine Facebook page as well, so that if after somebody hears us talking about it, they want to go and check out the details and have a look at the website as well to let that information sink in a little bit more. Margaret, what would you have to say to someone who has felt something after hearing us talk about this? What would your advice be to them?
It's been a very worthwhile organization for me to volunteer for. I've learned a lot. I've grown as a person. I've had my eyes opened. Just the experience of sitting in a courtroom and hearing some of these cases, being able to develop a relationship with a child and have fun with them. And it's just been a very good experience. And the training is excellent. And the CASA staff is there to back you up and help you with any questions. And so you don't feel like you're out there alone.
So what did the training specifically teach you?
In the training, you learn a lot about the court system. You learn a lot about what constitutes child abuse and neglect. You learn some things about child development. What else, Dana? What am I forgetting?
We do some background info on like trauma as well and resiliency for kids. It's a lot of background information, just kind of help the volunteers understand what kids have been through and how it affects their brain, as well as kind of help prepare them to be advocates.
There's an ongoing opportunity and an expectation for continuing education. So we're offered on a monthly basis chances to hear another program or chances to get together with other volunteers just to support one another. There also are conferences we have been sent to. The pre-pandemic, at least, the state CASA organization had a very good conference on a yearly basis where they would bring in national speakers and have workshops. And that's why I say I just feel like I've learned so much and it's heightened my awareness of the problem.
Well, it sounds like a wonderful opportunity for somebody who has a little bit more time to give and has a little bit more love to reach out with in their life, for somebody who has so little power and so little opportunity to help themselves when they're that age. They just really need all the help they can get.
Well, and I did want to add, we do have a lot of volunteers that work full time or have kids of their own or things like that. And it can be 6 to 10 hours a month whenever you have free time to go take a kid out for ice cream or go to the park or do something fun just to get to know them. So it really works around your schedule.
Not everybody has the ability to be a foster parent for, a variety of reasons, whatever they might be. But this sounds like sort of something that for those people who might not be able to do that, it sounds like something that would be accessible. About how long did the training take?
The training is 30 hours. Right now, with the current pandemic, we do about majority of it online, but you still do Zoom classes with CASA staff. So there's about 15 hours online and 15 hours just kind of doing Zoom session and some handouts as well to go along with that. And then after that, they do a court observation included in that, where they can actually see what happens in a courtroom and how the proceedings go there. So they kind of get familiar and get a chance to meet the judge. The judge in our county, Judge Huey, is very supportive of our program, loves to hear what CASA volunteers have to say to make sure that he hears what's going on with each individual child that he serves.
I think it's important to highlight these programs that are out there that are just below the radar of folks that don't have this happen in their life or to someone they know.
I'd just like to say, we would welcome anybody to volunteer. We really need the help. We'd like to serve all the kids in custody if possible. So the more people that come out and try, we'd love that. Also, just more opportunities to speak like this. Spread the word. Reach out if you have something like that, or we're always accepting donations as well. We want you to, help in whatever way suits you.
Wonderful. Ladies, it has been a pleasure today. Thank you very much to Margaret Maceman, a volunteer advocate, and Dana Lutz, the executive director of Canadian County CASA. And thank you for joining us, ladies, on Sunday Morning Magazine.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.